Tonight, we've got Coach PJ Katz and Coach Jesse Robinson from our staff here to present. Coach Katz will be discussing how they take advantage of using PQD at Brookwood High School in regards to divvying up responsibilities and building out their weekly scouting report. Coach Robinson will be tying all that together and showing you how to use our play editor feature to create a drawing, share that with the staff on a shared drive, and then this is going to allow other coaches to update the final presentation by adding their notes. But we appreciate you taking the time this evening to spend it with us. We hope it's beneficial for you. And if you got any questions, please feel free to add those to the chat. We want you to get the most out of this since you're live with us. And thank you again for being here. And thank you to all our customers. But Coach Katz, it's all yours. Go ahead.
All right, appreciate it, Coach Reddy. Back and y'all to know this, Coach Reddy's won more state championships than I have fingers, so I won't let him slide that out of here. But I appreciate the intro, Coach, and I'll go and get my screen shared. And again, thank you everybody for being on the call today or tonight, depending on where you're located. And like Kevin said, please ask questions. If you got a question, shoot it in the chat, and Jake, Kevin, Jesse, one of us will get to it, and they'll interrupt me, and we'll get your question answered right away. So we want this to be as inclusive as possible. So please feel free to chime in, and there really is no stupid question here. So let's get this thing rocking and rolling. So what I really did in this past year, what we did at Brookwood, was figure out how do we really take the defensive mindset of game planning, because defensive coaches, I feel like, are a little bit ahead with this because they have to do scout card. They got to break up responsibilities, right? And if you put one guy doing all the scout cards, I pray for him. So we said, okay, how can we do that, but build the whole structure of a game plan from new coverages we're facing this week, new blitzes we got to be able to pick up, new plays we're installing. And how can we come in on a Sunday and not just stare at each other and be like, all right, let's turn the film on and throw some ideas on a grease board. Let's have a process. So using PQD and PowerPoint, we built that process. So here it is, and we'll go through it. And again, guys, I can always trade you this. This is a huddle presentation now, so I can send it to you. So when you talk about a scouting report, right, always think it's important to have a cover page. Okay, nothing simple. This is just PowerPoint. This technically right here has zero to do with PQD. Okay, now when you come in on Sunday, right, again, everybody's been watching the film probably from late Friday night through Saturday. And what you've seen is that you've gotten your responsibilities of breaking everything down. Everybody's done their part. Well, when we come in on the offensive staff at Brookwood, we don't have, again, there's only 24 hours in a day. We don't have time to watch every single clip of every single play of every single game. Most coaches have done a lot of that on their own during breakdown. So when we come in, here's the categories of what we want to watch, okay, together to make sure that we have our minds wrapped around who was our opponent, what did you see, right? How did the game flow lead to what they called? So we're going to go through and we're going to hit quick cut-ups of these things. Again, I want to spend no more than about 30 to 45 minutes on this, okay? Just watching the film, talking, right? Making sure that we're all understanding who our opponent is this week, okay? And then from there, after we get done watching, this is where it starts to break out into we all go to our desk and we get to work, okay? Well, when you get to work, what does that mean? Well, it all breaks down into folders. If you're a current PQD user, you know how important folders are. So don't think install playbooks right now. Think scouting report. What folders would you need? So we sat down one day and we said, okay, we're building a scouting report. Every week, what do we need to build? And these are the folders over here on the right-hand side that we decided that we needed to build, okay? And again, copy paste week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4, hopefully through week 15, they're exactly the same. Now, what goes in them is different, okay? So if you're, like I said, building a playbook, you're more using these main library, right? But when it comes down into you're about to play South Gwinnett right here, what folders do you need? Here they are. So when you look at these folders, what we decided to do is say, okay, coaches are going to own a folder, right? So the O-line coach, Coach Underwood, what folders are you going to own? What folders are you going to fill in full of information? So from there, that's exactly what we do. We say, okay, these are the reports we need, put them in the folders, and from the report, you need to fill out your folder, all right? So Coach Underwood handles our front and stunt report while Coach Finley is doing our coverage. Blitz report back to Coach Underwood, Coach Allison on third down, and Coach Finley back on red zone. Okay. So what I love as a coordinator, what this allows me to do is to continue to wrap my mind around who my opponent is, watch how a DC calls a game, because I'm not having to get lost in the minutia right now. All of our assistants are doing that, which will eventually lead to the game plan. So again, guys, hit the chat if you have any questions. So our receiver coach, Coach Allison, does a great job with this. Again, this is, I think, more for your players, right? It does not matter to me what Jaden Holder looks like, but the kids like pictures. So using Pro Quick Draws Images tool, we just dropped it in. This is just your standard 12-up template that we simplified down into smaller boxes. So we could type some things about each player on the sides, okay? So this is the first page of the scouting report. We introduced their top 11. If they have more than that we think they're going to play the game and make an impact, we'll make another page, okay? And now, all right, take it to this point. You've watched the film, you've broken them down, okay? And Coach Finley is now at his computer, and he says, hey, guys, they got a new coverage this week that we have not seen all year, and I think we need to prepare for it. Great, coach, draw a coverage card for it. So when he goes to draw a coverage card into his coverage folder that we have, this is the outcome that we all see once we meet as an offensive staff. And he teaches us why we're looking at what we're looking at, okay? Now, when you look at this card in front of you, this is a still image shot brought to you by Huddle and our Huddle integration. This part over here is all the data directly from Huddle onto the PowerPoint PQD Huddle template, okay? Why we like to use this layout here is for two reasons. One, I do think that we always got to communicate to our kids verbally with what we're trying to show them. All right, guys, the coverage you're about to see is what we call MIDI, okay? And then after that, yes, I want to draw it for them and show it to them. So here's page 1 of our coverage breakdown. And then right behind that, as you can imagine, still images are great, data is great, but we need to watch, okay? So as we're watching this, and what Coach Finley told us as we went through it, and we all noticed it a little bit, myself, Coach Allison, when they play mini, this guy right here gets a lot of eyes start to wander back in the back, okay? So this is definitely something we got to look at, definitely something we need to attack. So what he then does is he starts to draw. So you'll see more of this later with Coach Robinson in our play editor. But what we want to do is we want to draw coverages that we think are going to give us problems for scouting report reasons and scout card reasons. So here you are, you're watching myself drop in the card. So we bring in the formation, and then right behind the formation, we double click in the coverage that they're going to play, which is mini. So what the play editor allows you to do, if you look over here on the left-hand side, you can build some basic structures, okay? And we do have a really good update coming out soon of our play editor drawings that you guys will love. But what we do is we say, okay, what are the top coverages we're going to see? And we put them over there, okay? Now, if you notice, mini's at the top. Well, guess what? We didn't draw mini at the beginning of the year because we didn't see it all last year. So we needed to draw a new one. We did it, and now we got mini forever. So in our play editor, I can always drop it in. So this is the card that the quarterbacks are going to get taught off of, okay, and the receivers. So we take this play editor. I'll run it back so you can watch it one more time. We drop in the formation. We drop in the coverage. And there it goes, okay? And now, if you look at this slide, remember how I said Coach Underwood was in charge of fronts? Here's his card he's provided. So everybody's at their own desk doing their own work. And then it all collaborates back together into this presentation that you guys are seeing tonight, okay? So we use these cards, again, to identify how they're going to line up. And from there, we use these cards for scouting reports or daily reminder sheets, okay? So again, fancy sheet. This is a lot more for the coaches than it is the players, right? We do show it to them. We go over it with them. We want to identify their top blitzes. Where are they coming from? I don't know about you guys, but sometimes huddle reports to me is just too much digestible information, right? I want to kind of back it up and say, okay, who are they from a blitz standpoint? When we're putting together our protections for the week, is there anything that's going to give us problems? So I lean on Coach Underwood to look at those and say, yeah, hey, Coach Katz, I don't really like these two. We need to make sure we practice against them, and we need to make sure we have answers for them. Okay. So again, divvy up the work. It all comes together for the plan. Okay. Again, this is just a template, a 2-box template that we made through an image in the background to make it look fancy with our field back there. Okay. So now, all right, we've broken up the work. We understand they're going to play mini versus trio. Okay. We've talked about the coverage. We've talked about how to protect against the blitz. They run out of that coverage. Now what play do we want to run? Okay. So we're now all back together as a full staff. Right? I throw this up on the board and say, okay, based on this still coverage, this drawing that Coach Finley made, what play can we attack them with? So we all go through, we throw out our ideas of what we want to do, right? And what we went to is we said, okay, this free safety gets his eyes so bad in the backfield. And this middle safety also does a pretty bad job with his eyes. And if you throw any eye candy right in front of his face, he's going to drive on it. Okay. So what we decided to do was take our number 2 receiver and post over the top. Okay. That was the simple scheme of where we started. Right. How did we get to this point? It all came from 1, film study, 2, identifying the coverage, and then 3, how do we attack it? Okay. The next thing we noticed, because of the huddle integration, every time we were clicking in mini cuts, we were seeing and long situations. Okay. So I didn't even pull up a huddle report for this. This just happened kind of organically. So I knew what I wanted to attack. But as we all know, right, I can't guarantee when I get in trio, they're going to be in mini coverage. But what we did realize is any and long situation, you're going to get mini. Okay. So again, who drew this card? Coach Finley. Who tagged in the data? I tagged in the data. It all incorporates into one. And then now we go to the inventory. So on this inventory, and again, our call sheet and how we do things might be a little bit foreign to you. If there's something you like about it, please let me know. Again, I'm an open book. There are no secrets, just really good players. But what we're doing now is we're dropping into our inventory what we want to run. Okay. And this is the play we decided to run. So just so you have an idea of what you're looking at column wise, all right, that is the personnel. Okay. That's the type of scheme that it is. There's the formation that we want to be in. And now here comes the play. So there's a play called snub. So we're doing off both hashes because you don't know where you're going to be. Okay. So we have a huge inventory that we build, right? So every play we're going to put on the call sheet goes in this inventory. Okay. And this number right here, number 49, I'll come back to that in a minute to show you why that matters. So here's the final play. All right. So Coach Allison and Coach Finley are charged with drawing new plays. Any play that is not the standard way that we installed it, we are going to manipulate. We're going to use our save as button and we're going to draw it. So we run a scheme called stick, okay, like everybody probably runs. And on stick, he's running the stick, right? He's on the out, he's on the more. So we said, all right, what do we want to call this? Somebody threw out the name snub, and we said, let's do it. Okay, we'll call it snub, keep it in that S word family. So from there, we drew the play. All right. Now, this is to me just where it begins. We've got the coverage drawn. We've got the video interlaced with it. We've got the play drawn. Now the work begins truly with the players. So everything's on here. Everybody sees what to do. Everybody knows who we're trying to attack. We're trying to attack that middle safety who gets his eyes in the wrong spot. Okay. So now, how do we install this play? Okay. This is our schedule of what we do for scripting. Okay. In practice periods. So this is printed above my desk just to remind me every day when we're scripting what we need to be hitting. Okay. So all these different categories, everybody probably does something very similar to this. All right. Or however you lay your week out. But to me, if it's a new play, we got to get that thing repped. Okay. And we are going to rep it a lot. And if we don't rep it a lot, it ain't going on the call sheet on Friday nights. Okay. So if you look at now everything that's in green, every green area is when we called that play in practice throughout the week. Okay. So of course it's in our shot route because it's a deep pass. So we just worked the bang concept in our shot. We introed it in walkthrough. We did it in 7-on-7. On Tuesday, we have a new plays period where we run all of our new plays of the week on air just to make sure our alignment, assignment, and operation is correct. And then we ran it in red zone. Hey, if we call this in red zone this week, make sure we understand how things shorten up. And then on Wednesday, you can see we did it again in red zone, third down BPU, 2-minute drill. I actually live called it once. And then Thursday, of course, we hit it during our simulated game and walkthrough. Okay. So the process to me of how we script, how we game plan for the call sheet, a lot of people do a great job. We didn't do a great job until this year. I think we have done a very solid job of giving everybody responsibility when they walk in the door. Right? Here's your categories. Here's what you should be doing. How does that produce a play? So if you think about it, okay, if you talk about Coach Finley, for example, his job is to draw top coverages. His top coverages drawing led us to install this play. Okay, we call it snub. So what you see here on the screen is what I call a visual practice script. I coached defense for a year. I was a bad guy. Again, I'll probably skip the webinar on Thursday. You defensive guys, I'm just kidding. I'll be there supporting. What we're looking at here, right, is our plays. So to me on defense, we always drew the scout card and had what the scout team was supposed to run, but our offense never did this. And when kids have questions, because it's inevitable, we had nothing to show them. So what I decided to do from the day I took over as OC was we are going to draw every play that we run. And you think about that, it might sound overwhelming. When you look at this sheet, guys, this was on Wednesday, I think it was Wednesday, Halloween, there's 10 plays on this sheet. We drew 0 of them on that day because all we did was library them up all year long and drop them in, okay? This play right here, Playboy Flash Packer, we installed that in week 2, okay? We're going to run a lot of cop that week, so we want to go ahead and put Packer in. So don't think that we have to sit here and draw these 10 plays or the team plays we draw or the inside plays we draw, okay? So what I want to do, though, is give the guys opportunities to run the play and show that it will have success, that our scheme that we drew up on the board and we dreamed up is actually going to work. We had a great week of it. Thursday come around, we're filling out the call sheet. So if you zoom in on the call sheet, there's the play, okay? It's in our category we call Sam Reed, and now we're going to take this play into action. So if you look there, I'll let it zoom in one more time. Remember that number 49 I told you about? Right there, you'll see it. What we do in our call sheet is we VLOOKUP it. So we link the cells, which I really like. It's kind of a PQD mindset of a call sheet, is if anything changes in our bank, the call sheet will update, okay? Because we all know things change. Come Thursday or Friday morning, we have these bright ideas and we want to change it. We VLOOKUP it so we don't have to find the play on the call sheet, okay? So it's second and long, right? Somebody, if they want to unmute themselves, please do. What coverage do you think we're about to face? Coach Wire, I know you're on there. I see you. Coach Hall, I see you on there. What coverage? Anybody there? Perfect. That's right. They're all muted. Talking to myself.
Got a mini in the chat though.
I love that. Merritt. Perfect, Coach Merritt. It's mini. Okay. So here we are. All right. We just had a loss on first down. Okay. Not what we're looking to do with first down. You can see right there that it's second and long. Okay. Second and long. We did freeze column here because I was a little bit nervous that they weren't going to line up in mini. They came out in mini. Absolutely perfect. So we give the signal in and the kids knew what to do. So you'll see here the middle safety drives down. Quarterback goes over the top. We walk in the end zone to kind of flip the game around right there for us and lead to a big win. Okay. So the outcome on Friday night, strike up the band, let's get this party going, all started really, if you walk it back to Saturday film study, Sunday, Coach Finley drawing up the coverage, putting the scouting report together, and then from there leading to this. And of course, Huddle wants to load slowly right now, but Let's see if I can get it going. He scores. Guess you just have to take my word for it. Let's see if the tight angle works to show you the end of the play. So there you go, middle safety drives. We get over the top, and that must be hacking my Zoom here, not want to show it, but scored a touchdown. So I say all that to point out two things. Okay, number one, no longer do we walk in and just stare at each other, right? Or wait for somebody to throw ideas, or wait for the coordinator to come out and say things. Okay, I want guys to own things, right? I'm not smart. I need smart people around me to help this whole process, right? On Friday night, dad in the stands who thinks I'm an idiot might think I just made the greatest call in the world. That's fine. He can think what he wants. I know that the work that Coach Finley did, Coach Allison did, Coach Underwood did, all that led to that successful play. And that's just one play in one game. So what we're going to do now is we're going to kick it back to Kevin, and then Jesse and I are going to show you some pretty cool stuff.
So the biggest thing, kind of my takeaways from that, is don't be afraid to give people some more responsibility. I mean, as a young coach, the more that was kind of put on me, the more pride I took into it and wanted it to be done exactly right. You got a lot of folks who are afraid to give up that responsibility because ultimately, at the end of the day, you're the one that's responsible for it. But having this process and being able to have everybody on the same system and be able to edit and make changes, as a coordinator or a head coach, you've got final say in how you want it to look. So you can always go back and make those edits using the PQD edit button. So that way it's constantly being evaluated, and you got a nice quality control process with it. And then the last takeaway was definitely from the standpoint of the thought process. If I'm going to draw every single play on every single hash, that's a lot of material. But the point is, and Coach Katzen and staff have been users for a couple years, they're not drawing much during the season. That to me is the biggest piece of that you're getting back. We're trying to save you time at the end of the day. So if you can build out that library, whether it's runs or passes, you've got a whole database basically to be able to pull all that information in and make your work week a whole lot simpler and faster, and actually get time to watch film and kind of digest some folks. But we'll pass it over to Coach Jesse Robinson now, as he's going to try and tie all that in using the play editor tool, and then also sharing some presentations.
Hey, coaches, good evening. Again, thank you guys for being here. I'm excited to be on, share with you the process of building a play through Play Editor, how you can save time that way, and then also collaborating and working with coaches. So I'll go ahead and share my screen. We'll get started here. Set my PowerPoint presentation pulled up, and they're ready to draw. You saw the plays that the Brookwood staff had, and they drew up and really great at it. You can see why they are successful, because they maximize throw quick draw and they save time at it. And so I'll jump in. I'll click on our play editor button. That's going to open up our play editor library here on the left side of the screen with our shapes and our drawings. I'll be working in our drawing menu. I'll go to our field background and I'll select a high school midfield. When you double click it, it drops in, it covers the slide. So I have a 16:9 slide. We have the 16:9 field background. So next I'll go and I'll select my offense. I'll be installing a pass play that we're going to drop in and share with our players. So I'll go back to my formations. I'll go 2x2 close. When I double click it, it falls in. Now Coach Katz, he wants everything drawn up on left hash or left middle. So I'll highlight everything, hold shift, and I'll slide it over to the left middle. So we're going to go 3x1. So I'll make my adjustments. I'll move my Z out. I'll grab my X and my S, and I'll slide it over to my X is in the middle of the number. I'll take my S receiver, make them 3x1, and I'll even split out my tight end a little bit. Now to make sure they're all even, I'll grab the 3 receivers to the field. I'll go to my arrange button, go down to the bottom, and I will distribute horizontally. Now they're all even. This play requires that we go 4 strong. So I'll grab my H, who's my running back, and I'll place him in a B gap. So I have my formation set, I can begin to drop in routes for this play. So I'll go back over to my shapes, slide down to my routes. And all of our routes of play are drawn in, breaking from left to right. You see here, my post is for my super, for my X. He will break from the left side of the field into the middle towards the right. So now I'll start dropping in routes. I'll grab my Y, and he's gonna run a sit for this concept. So I'll grab my sit concept, and I'll flip it. I'll flip it horizontal, so now that he's breaking in towards the boundary, so he'll break from right to left. So I'll flip it here, and I'll go to my line color and make sure that it's set for match. The line will match the inside field color of the receiver. So I got my Y, my sit, add, and it drops in. I'll grab my S. He's gonna run a corner. So instead of, redrawing the corner, I take what I have. I'll turn off the flip horizontal. I'll go down and find my post. I'll click it, and I'll click add, and he drops in. And I want his break point to be at 10 yards. So I'll go ahead and I'll make this adjustment and drag it up here, and I'll kind of manipulate this and move it out some. I'm gonna get it really wide, aiming for that front pylon of the end zone. So I grab my Z, he's gonna run a basic, run a dig. So I'll flip this horizontal, add, and this dig will drop in, and we'll change his break point to 10 yards. And my running back, he's gonna swing. So I'll turn off flip horizontal again, grab my swing, and he'll drop in. Now, a couple of tricks here. My X, he's going to post. So I'll go ahead and I'll grab my post and I'll drop it in. But hit undo, and click my X, put my post. So my post is dropped in. But against quarters coverage, cover 4, we're going to have him run an adjustment, and actually he's going to run a comeback against that coverage. So I'll select my X, get my comeback, and I'll add it in there. But now I can grab it individually, and I'll go up, have my custom tab here with all my football drawings that I need for my buttons I use to draw plays, and I'll go to my shape outline. I'm gonna change the color of this to black. I'll go ahead and I'm gonna change the weight, make it a little lighter. I'm gonna go back, I'm actually gonna change it and make it a dash. So now we have our adjustment against quarters or cover 4 coverage for our single side receiver. So my play's built. Just to throw in a couple more tricks here, I'm gonna go grab a rectangle tool. I'm going to draw a rectangle over top of this post and this dig where they intersect. We need to know who's gonna break first, who's gonna go behind, who's gonna go in front. So with my rectangle selected, I'm gonna go to the shape outline and go no outline. I'm gonna go fill, make the fill white. I'm gonna grab the rectangle, grab the corner, grab the receiver, and I'm going to I'm gonna bring them to front. I'm gonna grab my rectangle, and I'm gonna send it to back. I'm gonna go backwards. So now it's very evident that my dig, my basic, is going behind my corner, and my corner is gonna break first. So now that I'm happy with my drawing, I can save it. I go function F12, and I will save this in my document folder. And we'll just name this play Dover. So we'll save it, and we're all set. We're happy with my drawing. Coach Katz, he sees it, he's happy. Now we're ready to throw this into a template. So I'll close the play. So now you can go in, and you can select the template you would like. When you just select your template, you'll update to get a new slide. I have one that I've previously started here with some of the receivers' assignments filled in. So I'll go ahead and I'll delete this one. Go back to my slide that I previously started with my template on there. I'll click my document folder, and here's my Dover play sitting here waiting. When I double click it, the play drops in. So now it's time to collaborate, and we need to get this to where Coach Katz, he can work on this and put in the responsibility for the quarterback. So I'm going to go function F12, and I'm going to save it again. I'm going to save it to my desktop. I'm going to go Dover, install, save. So once it's saved, I'll switch over to my OneDrive account where my Dover play has now showed up. So I can go ahead, I can click the arrow to share it. I'll email a link to Coach Katz. So here, guys, email pj@proquickdraw.com. Share. Now this is being sent off to Coach Katz, where whenever it shows up in his email, he'll have the opportunity to open it and edit it online or locally on his computer. So great thing about Microsoft is, again, the ability to share. So whenever you receive it, you'll see his initials pop up. If he's not signed in, it may show up as a guest. And when that shows up, you'll see those initials, and he can begin to make any adjustments and edits as well. So see, we have it here. Someone is now in there. Here's Coach Katz, and he's now starting to work on here. So this is the online version of our Dover install play.
And Coach, just to reiterate what you did in order to share that, he went to the OneDrive website, basically. So you can Google your Microsoft OneDrive, you sign into your account. And now this is just a web page that's showing you all the files on your OneDrive. And that's the easiest way to be able to share this content and be able to see it and pull it up from an online web version.
Awesome. And here we have Coach Katz, and this is the web version. He's added his notes in, easy, throw it to the open receiver. And here's his progression he's added. So I go back to the local version of my computer. I can file, save it, and here it is updated again. So Pro Quick Draw, makes it very easy for you to collaborate, save time. All the work you saw that Brookwood did when preparing to play South Gwinnett, it's not one person waiting to get to a file. It's not, one coach working on something and starting something, working on something one day and come back and start it the next. The collaboration using Pro Quick Draw can happen, immediately right there in your office. So with that being said, we'll throw it back to Kevin, Coach Reddy.
Absolutely. So one of the questions we just had come in from Coach Woods was, we've got 2 licenses on our staff, the DC and the OC. If we added another license, how would we get all of our files merged together? So basically, you just want to have one location that is basically acting as your shared drive. So a lot of high schools or colleges, they've got a shared network between the teachers and staff. So the biggest thing right there, it's 2 areas. 1, it's the templates, and 2, it's the library. So as long as you move those files directly to that shared drive, now everybody on staff has access to all of that content, which is big, because now you can start to utilize exactly what Jesse just showed there in terms of, 1, sharing presentations, but 2, it's being able to share that library. So if your drawings are on a shared library, you've got that capability to see everything. And then it's just a matter of opening up a PowerPoint and double clicking those files and have them drop in. Got a couple offense and defenses that use it, and cohesively from a scout card standpoint as well. So if I was to do all inside runs, well, instead of a defensive staff having to draw up inside zone again versus 4-2-5 or whatever, you've got a shared drawing of it. And now the defensive guys can utilize the offensive drawings and pull that up as well. So that to me is a great advantage to being able to use it. The next question is does DV Sport mesh with this like Huddle does? And the answer is no. We don't have a direct integration with DV Sport, but they do have a PowerPoint presenter tool inside, if I'm not mistaken. And then that's just a matter of basically everyone working together. You create that content and push it up into your video system in the presentations folder, wherever that new location is, and being able to do that. Got the next one is, how would I go about creating drawings and saving them for future use? So Jesse or Coach Katz, could one of you guys just pull up an example of PQD and basically just do a quick little walkthrough of the edit and save as button and putting a drawing into a presentation? And then whichever one of you guys wants to take that.
I got it. So my screen put up, so I'll go, coach, and I'll go over and I'll save this play. So this is the Dover play we drew up. And so I'm gonna make a new play from this play and have a library of plays showing in my master library. So in order to start and create something new, we're gonna work with what you have. And so we're gonna click the play. When I click the play, we have the 3, 6, 8 dots around the play. That means the play is engaged and we're ready to create something new. So from here, in the Pro Quick Draw tab, on the drawing section of the ribbon, I'll click Save As. So from here, I create something new. I create a new play, it's called Boss. Let's give it a name. And I'll click Save. So now from here, we can use Play Editor and we can create something new. So I will just slide this receiver back over to go 2 by 2. Slide them down. Delete all the shapes. And so I'll use Play Editor and I'll start dropping in something new. So I'll click my Play Editor. I'm in my shapes, I go to my routes. I'll flip it. I'll grab these 2 receivers and I'll drop in a double post. Here's my post, delete my rectangle. I go back here and I'll drop in a drag. And I will drop in a dig. So here's my new play. Here's Boss. When I'm happy with it, I can save it. So I close, hit save. So now here's a new play. When I go to my master library, we've added Boss to Dover. And so when I can change this template, I'll go and I'll grab a 4 box. And I will click Update and I'll click Add to add a new slide. I can double click Boss and it drops in. I'll double click Dover and drops in. I have another play. So if I were to add another one, it'd be the same process.
Hey, Coach, can you edit one of those drawings and drop in the shapes that we have to show a protection?
Yes. So I'll go ahead and I'll drop in Dover again. And I'll click the play. I have my dots around it, it's engaged. I can click Edit. And I will go into Template Editor. I have our Pro Quick Draw blocks. So we have our double click is our man side. Drops in. I'll click Undo. I have to go into my lines, color, take it off match, put it on default so they come in black. You want to come in as white as the fill color. Click. Man protection. Drops in. Center, guard, tackle. Slide protection. Drops in. Again, close, save. Here's the updated version of my play. Like I made a OneDrive snafu, so I'll click it again and I'll refresh it. And there it shows the update.
And the big thing too with that play editor tool, that's something that you guys can edit and customize. And then it's just the same as sharing the library. You share those play editor tool files, and now you've got multiple staff members all using the same play editor tool. To me, the biggest part about that is you standardize your drawing in that content. So when a player pulls up a drawing, he's not sitting here and going, Coach May drew this one, man, this thing looks like crap. And now you've got a chance where every single drawing looks the exact same because we've thoroughly defined the distance of routes, the colors, the thickness. We've got a standard look to it. So I think that is another key point to utilize the play editor. If you're not familiar with it, there's some really good articles on the knowledge base that go through with that as well. But we'll keep in here in the chat and continue to answer questions. But I'm going to drop in the defensive webinar link in here in just a second as well. And then the other part of this too is the whole point of this was to take a little bit of the workload off you as an individual if you're the only person on your staff drawing in PQD, and allow other members in your staff to join in this process. So if it's something that you want to do and you want to add more licenses to your account, we're able to do that. The biggest thing that we're going to do is we're just going to prorate that amount to match the remainder of your contract. So if you signed up 3 months ago for the extra license amount, we'll charge you for the 9 months with that instead of the full 12 months cost of it. So that way we get back on track for your renewal next year and you're up and running with that full amount. Coach McDonald had a question about updated shapes menu coming. We do, so with an updated download here, I would think in the next month, we'll basically have more shapes in regards to, one, from a scout card standpoint, it'll be a different size. Two is we're keeping the routes very similar, but I think we're adding more in terms of the defensive shapes from an offensive standpoint. And then we've also added it to where all the shapes are set in an offensive perspective. All the shapes are also going to be set in a defensive perspective to keep you guys from having to flip vertical and horizontal. We've added a bunch of different stuff that you can use in terms of, linebackers coming off the edge or they're hitting, B gap, whatever. D-line slants are a little bit more tailored towards the gap sizes that fit in terms of the material that we provide. Special teams updates in terms of kickoff return diagrams. We're also updating the field backgrounds and trying to clean up some of that as well. We got new templates as well. The nice thing about the template is that it's not going to replace any of the templates that you have currently. It's just going to add directly to what you've got and just updating some fonts and colors and just a couple other looks from depth charts and things like that we've dropped in. And yes, we do have Canadian game templates as well. So we'll have a CFL library to be able to pull from, whether it's templates, drawings, backgrounds. We'll have all that for you as well in the next month. But we really appreciate all that you guys do for PQD. The product improves simply because of coaches like yourselves who are on things like this. They give us feedback. They tell us what you want to see and what we can add to those downloads to make things easier for you. So we wouldn't be doing what we were doing without you all. We really appreciate it. Thank you for your time. Thank you, Coach Katz, Coach Robinson, for your content tonight. I hope it was beneficial, and it's definitely something will be posted, and more people than we know will have an impact from it. So thank you all. Appreciate it. Y'all have a great night.